Thanks for checking out this highlight from the Casually Hardcore podcast. If you want to check out the full podcast after the show, please be sure to hit the top link in the description. But now, let's do it. So I think that's going to take us right into our first topic, essentially what obviously excites us the most about the Burning Crusade. So if you're joining here as a part of this highlight on Work to Game, just know, check out Arleus. His links are all in the description of these videos and more, so you can go follow him, check out his Twitch and or his YouTube channel and content. So let's start with the Burning Crusade, because to kind of set a little bit of context of my expectation and playthrough of World of Warcraft, I kind of touched the Burning Crusade, but it wasn't this be-all, end-all. But for a lot of people, especially the people I worked with at the time, the Burning Crusade was the one and only game to ever release. It's mind-blowing. People still call back to it. And with the fact that Classic was launched and Burning Crusade is what is coming, Arleus, how significant is this moment in history, and also phrase it around the concept of how they're actually handling the migration? Is there any issues or concerns that you might have with how they're going to do the migration from Classic and TBC and retail? Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So this is huge. There's no simple way to put it other than that. I have very fond memories of being a 13, 14-year-old kid playing TBC for double-digit hours a day. It was just such an amazing game. There's so much content packed into it. They spent so much time going into it. I mean, WoW Classic was released and they built MC. I think we've talked about this before, but I think in like 2 weeks or something like that. Like, they had so much time to build TBC, and I think they did an amazing job. The whole backstory of Illidan and everything like that, bringing in arenas for the first time and making that a competitive space in 2v2 and 3v3. 5v5 wasn't a huge thing back in the day, but it grew from there. It was just an amazing expansion. I think a lot of people are extremely excited about that, myself included. I think as far as the rollout goes, I think this is probably the best way to go about it. I know that there's a lot of controversy about the boosts. I know that there's a lot of controversy about the gold caps and everything like that. I personally think that there should probably be a gold cap of about 5,000 gold and then BOP items. That being said, it's going to be extremely restrictive to your player base. It's going to cause a lot of people just to say, okay, well, I'll come back in 3 months because I have nothing to do. Right. So it's not really realistic for them to just make that leap, I would say. So I think that them handling it with as much of a laissez-faire approach as possible, where they're not making any changes to not tick off anybody. I mean, some people are going to be ticked off no matter what, right? And so you're either going to make people mad on one side, or you're going to change something to make people mad. So at least if you don't change something, you could say, well, no changes, right?
Do you ever feel like if you subscribe to the idea of trying to make everybody happy, that you piss everybody off?
Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah,
it's like, it's just like, oh, we tried to do this and do this. And then it's like, and then everybody hates us. So it's at the core of it. Yeah. Anyway, continue. It's such an interesting conundrum. We're seeing something similar with it, like with Halo. Like, you sometimes get to a point where you're screwed either way, man. Like, you're screwed either way. But please continue.
Yeah, I think that so the first controversial kind of thing, the 58 boost, right? And so paid boost. Just want to specify that because a lot of people ask me and they don't know it's paid. I personally like that, and the reason why. The game has been out for so many years, right? I think a lot of people, and I think if you look at the numbers back in the day, started with TBC. A lot of people played Classic, but a lot of people also started with TBC. And so a lot of people didn't play Classic, or played Classic, leveled to 30, and they were like, okay, I've sunk 5 days into this, I'm level 30. This is going to take me a million years to get to 60. I'm going to stop now.
Wouldn't it just take another 5 days? By that logic?
It took like another 12.
Yeah. And so I think that there's a large player base that just isn't there. And if they were told that you have to level up to 60 in the next 2 months to be able to participate in TBC, might say, I don't want to do it. And so I think the ability to bring back a lot of people who want to experience TBC, I think is great. On the contrarian side, obviously you're getting something that takes, multiple weeks to do. But I was doing some back of the hand math the other day. And with how long TBC's been out, Classic's been out, you could have leveled 50-ish level 60s by now if you were just doing nothing but leveling based on the average leveling time. So I don't mind too much if people are going to get one level 58 with some blues out of a dungeon, for example. If they were getting T3, I'd have some issues. But I think it's going to allow a lot of people to play the game, and I'm really excited for that. And I think that the overall migration to it is going to be going to be really good. It's going to be interesting to see the economy, but I think I'm excited for it.
Classic does two things. It allows people who remember it fondly to go back and re-experience it. It allows for that nostalgia trip. TBC was not my first expansion. I played in vanilla. TBC was my first expansion to play as an expansion, to aggressively seek in-game rating, to aggressively seek best in slot. It was the thing that shaped the fact that I am now a full-time MMO content creator. TBC is that foundation. It's the rock on which everything else was built. It is the bar that everything gets to be above or below. Even games that are better than it, the next game is still going to be compared to TBC. TBC is still my base foundational level. There are things that are better than it. There are things that are worse than it, but it is my entry point. And Classic was teaching me the basics, but like I still didn't understand how hit cap work. I still didn't understand. There was a lot of basics through, like I was still learning how to quest and how to level and like, do I need to hold on to this item? There were still a lot of basic questions that came out of vanilla, and so it allows for you to go back and relive that. But it also allows for people who, there were a lot of Wrath babies. There were a lot of people who came into Wrath of the Lich King coming off TBC was kind of like Endwalker coming out of Shadowbringers, a great expansion going into what ended up being a great expansion, which is where we think Endwalker will be for 14, ends up, that's those people who buy into GameStop at 400, right? They aren't there at the beginning, but they're excited to be a part of it. And so Wrath was a lot of people saying, okay, it's good, but like, will it really last? And then after 2 years of being told this is the game, they go, fine, I'll hop in. And Wrath was good too. And so there's a big chance here to go back and let people play things they missed. The problem is that #NoChanges still changes things. There was somebody who got their Netherwing rep grind mount. There was a guild that farmed it like in the first 3 days, and it just was 40 of them in the zone, and they were grinding up the eggs, and they were all trading it to their guild master, and that guy turned that in for rep because it was a repeatable quest that you did every day for 2 weeks, but there was this rare item that spawned in the zone, and you could gather it, and you could turn it in for like 1 extra quest worth of experience. And if 40 or 50 people all get together and trade those and make sure that that all goes to one guy, he can get the first dragon mount ever added to the game a full 10 days before anybody else. He got it not because of the work they put in, but because of the work they put in was paired with the fact that nobody else knew that could be done. Well, secret's out. Like there are no secrets here. Illidan is not going to be a surprise fight. There's not going to be any moments here that catch us off guard because of #NoChanges. And so the other problem with this is we're really good at the Burning Crusade now.
Mm-hmm.
There's one thing though, and that one thing that they said is that they actually are going to make it more difficult, which I'm really excited for. So with like the AQ obviously releasing post nerf, we're getting all pre nerf, which is fantastic because as you said, everybody's better. You know,
Everybody's better.
It's 2021 versus 2006 or whatever, right? Everyone is much better at the game.
We've optimized rotations, we've optimized strategies, we've optimized call outs. We are better players.
Yeah, everybody has their one shot macro that they can just press over and over now. So everybody knows what to do.
Beastmaster was a one shot back then, wasn't it?
It was literally one.
And it was, I mean, like top DPS.
Yep.
I didn't play it with the macro because I found it more fun, but
oh yeah,
I did have parts of my rotation macroed. I just didn't do the one shot.
That's what I want to see brought from end to 14 is some of the macro technology that they had in WoW. Because I remember being able to set up a macro that it knew when I changed targets to start over. So I'd say use this ability, then use this ability, then use this ability. But then if I changed targets, I always wanted to start with ability A. And when I go into 14's macro system and like I'm just like, man, how cool would it be if, etc. And we'll see. Like I have hopes for the 6.0, especially as a controller player, and the fact that the current version of WoW supports controller is exciting. But yeah, for me, Classic, I'm like, wait, like it did do the thing that the current version just finally added for me that I've been asking for in this whole run. So I hope that you really enjoyed that highlight, and I hope that you check out the full podcast. Again, link is in the description. Thanks for being here, and hope you have a fantastic day, you wonderful, beautiful individual.